Well, hey, everybody. Good morning. This is Gavin. I'm here with Nici.
Good morning.
And we are keeping it real estate. And today we're going to be really keeping it real about what buyers and sellers should expect this fall in the housing markets in Genesee, Livingston, Orleans, and Wyoming counties, or what we love to call the Glow region.
Yes, I love this. And I think this is very important, too, because I picked up a lot during this past summer, you talking about your market boom and how it happened a little later than you had expected. And now going into your fall, and dare I say even winter months before we know it, I'm very curious to hear what you have to say, but also how it's going to go.
I know. And, you know, if I had a crystal ball, it would make my life and everybody's life so much easier. Wow, would we be owning all of this? But here are my predictions based on what we've been monitoring and what we've been seeing, Nici.
Okay.
And just a quick snapshot, and this is not to overtake the monthly market update. You know, we'll be doing that certainly when we have the data available for our next update. But just let's review what we've come to know and what we've experienced over the past summer. So a quick snapshot by county. If we focus on Genesee County, the average home value was around $218,000, and that was a 3.5% increase year over year based on July data.
Okay.
So value went up. In Wyoming County, the median sold price in July of 2025 was about $185,000. And that was a striking increase from last year, same time, increasing about 11% from last year.
Really?
So that's Wyoming County.
Wow.
If we go to Orleans County, recently recorded buyers were paying about 105% of the list price in Orleans County. And so that was signaling still strong competition among buyers in Orleans County. And then in Livingston County, median listing home price was around $250,000. That's like our high achiever here in the area, with wide variety of offerings from budget-friendly to upscale opportunities. Okay. So that's kind of the flavor of what, or a quick snapshot of what was going on county by county in the Glow region in the last year based on that July data year over year. So that kind of gives you an idea.
No, I love that, but I'm curious, if you don't mind me kind of backtracking just a little, what does an upscale opportunity mean?
Well, a higher end listing. So maybe something that in our area, we're looking at a $400,000, $500,000 plus.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it was like business or something.
No. And this is, when I'm talking about these numbers, folks, for the purposes of this episode, we're talking about single family homes for the most part.
Perfect.
So thank you for that context, Nici. But yeah, budget friendly, first time homeowner threshold, entry-level homes, if you will, around the $100,000 to $200,000 range. It's kind of crazy to say that that's where we're at, but that's where we're at. And then that upscale opportunity being an increase of $300,000 to $400,000 and higher.
Of course, yeah.
So that's sort of the deal there. So if we want to contextualize the Glow region in terms of the region, let's remind everybody that the Buffalo region and just beyond the region within, Western New York has been named the hottest housing market, and Rochester as well, respectively, by third-party sources like Zillow, et cetera. So that was 2 years in a row that really Western New York, Rochester, and Buffalo, respectively, are still in the headlines of hot market areas.
Huh, that's crazy. I wonder why, what makes a hot market area? I mean, obviously, the idea of having low inventory and the competition being up high, I get, but I wonder what's the allure.
Well, it's definitely lifestyle. It's definitely everything we have to offer, but it's certainly directed by price point.
Sure.
When the average cost of a home nationwide is $400,000 and higher, and ours in this region is well below that, it's getting the attention of folks from all over the country.
For sure.
So not just in and out of New York State, or even the Northeast, which is still as a whole showing a lot of promise and increased property values, whereas maybe areas in the country like the Southeast, maybe not so much right now.
Okay.
So that's why all eyes are on Western New York, Buffalo to Rochester at this point in time. So contextualize us within that in the Glow region. So we're still a hot area, still low inventory, but still opportunities for folks to get under contract reasonably in the context of the region and the nation.
Perfect. I love that. Okay.
So that's what's going on. That gives you a little, teaser of kind of where we're coming from to give you some context. And if we talk about the current conditions of what we're experiencing now as we head into fall, we're still seeing inventory in Genesee County as being still really tight. There's less than 100 homes available, period, countywide. And I'm counting everything from what's currently available as an active listing to what's not yet closed. So that active all the way to pending. Because sometimes, unfortunately, transactions fall through. So you only have in that whole conglomerate of any home available that has not yet closed yet in the MLS, less than actually around 85 homes.
That's wild.
It's
Here in
very
Genesee,
low.
and you're thinking like that's not just Batavia. We're talking like all the way to Oakfield,
All of
Alexander, Elba,
Genesee County.
Leroy. Like
You
that's
got
a big area.
It is. And there's quick pending time. So when houses hit the market and they're active, and then all of a sudden they accept an offer and they're waiting to close, it's less than 10 days on average still.
What?
And that's really driven by, and again, there are homes, of course, that are taking longer, those higher level, higher end homes per se, or maybe there's a home that needs a little bit more TLC. But on average, when the price, condition, and location is right on the home in Genesee County, and you have those delayed negotiations, offers are due at a certain point, you're seeing that homes are going under contract quickly in around 10 days.
Wow. That's
Right?
great. It's really great though. It's a reflection of our area. I like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then here's another great stat. Many of those homes that we just talked about are still selling over list price. About 61% of that inventory is still selling over list price.
That's wild.
Yeah. So that's, when people want to say, oh, the market's dead. No, it's not. It's fluctuating. It's balancing in some respects. It's always about price, condition, location. But those are really important stats.
Yeah.
In Orleans County, there's still strong buyer demand. Okay. And there's still such low inventory. And I know this because of course, I have clients looking out there and there's nothing available for them. And when it does, there's a bidding war or there's an opportunity that they get priced out. But that buyer demand is pushing sale prices up above asking because the inventory is so low in Orleans County, even in Orleans County. And in Wyoming County, we are seeing, as I noted previously, really notable growth with price jumps, 11% year over year. And so we should expect continued upward pressure of prices in Wyoming County. So in Livingston County, again, because they're sort of affiliation or geographic alignment with Rochester, you get that spillover from folks that are not getting successfully under contract in Monroe County. So they turn their eye to Livingston.
Yeah.
And there you go. So that's kind of what we're going on. So buyers, here are my tips for you as we look to fall.
Okay.
Get pre-approved early. Don't wait for the house. Don't wait for, now I think I'm in the market because I love that house. You should be having that conversation right away. This market is still very active, and speed matters when that right property comes up. And if you like it and it checks your boxes, it probably checks the boxes for a lot of different buyers. So make sure you're ready. So if you're not a cash buyer, or if you are, get your finances together. Make sure that you've got your accounts ready. If you're not a cash buyer, make sure you've spoken to a lender, understand your financial ability, get that pre-approval letter, and also look into and discuss all the loan options with a loan originator. There's a pre-approval process. There's pre-qualification. Pre-approval is a step deeper than that pre-qualification letter. There are things called cash guarantees. A lot of lenders have different types of loan programs. In addition to the conventional mortgage, FHA, VA, and USDA, there's a lot of options for you buyers. So you need to have those conversations with a lender sooner than later.
And this process or that, I guess, step should be done before you even start looking for a house.
That's right. Absolutely. And as you've heard me say on the show before, when I meet with buyers and whether you're a first-time home buyer or you're a seasoned buyer, the first thing is, what is our ability? What is our budget? And how are we going to finance or purchase a home? So you really should not be stepping foot on a property until you understand how it is that you're going to purchase a property, right?
Yep.
And there's a lot of options, and you should understand them all thoroughly. So don't wait until the house presents itself and offers are due tomorrow.
Yes.
Have that conversation so you know exactly where you stand and make that process a bit easier.
Especially because I know people, when they're buying a house, it's impulsive. Like when
It
you
can be.
get and you want and you're like in that process.
This is the
it's
one
like,
I've always been waiting for.
when and how long is this going to take? I want to move in tomorrow.
That's right. So you got to know. So work with a local real estate agent. That's my tip for you buyers who knows the county specific trends and the pricing nuances, because you shouldn't go into this blindly. You should know your finances, and you should be working with a local agent that understands the market, understands the property, does the communication piece for you so that you're upfront and you're prepared.
Yep.
Because when the time comes, speed is important, as I mentioned, but you want to make good decisions. And so make sure you're working with a local agent that can guide you appropriately. Okay.
And that's important too, because like I said, the impulsive buyer. I know so many people who see a house at face value.
Sure.
They want it. They know that. And it's so hard to remember the steps that really have to be. And that's what a great agent does help, is kind of put that into perspective and reality checkup.
They're your coach. They're your person. They're your manager.
Yes.
So make sure you're doing that. Buyers, my recommendation to you as well in this market in our region as we look to fall is focus on value, not just the price. Okay. A lot of people get obsessed. Well, I'm only qualified to this area, and so I'm only looking at that. And I understand that. You don't want to dangle candy from the baby and look outside your budget, but you might want to look at other things that the property offers. Is there land? Is there acreage? What's the location like? Maybe you find something that's solar equipped in our area, or something that's energy efficient. Is the higher cost of that property going to behoove you in the long run because maybe your utilities are less expensive?
Okay.
You need to look at the value proposition of every property, and your agent can help you with that too. So think about not just that it's so pretty and you love the red door. What else does this property offer you in terms of value? Be it its mechanics, its updates, and things like that. They're going to add to your bottom line long term.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Nope.
Be strategic, buyers, as we look towards fall. Don't be rushed. I know you're looking at third-party sites like Zillow, and they're worrying about high mortgage rates boosting buyer hesitation, but the volume of listings is probably going to increase this fall. And so therefore the demand's going to come up too. And prices, if that interest rate does go down, what do you think is going to happen? The prices might go up.
Yeah.
And so it's that tug of war, that push and pull of all those factors in the market. You still have to be on your A game. You still have to be ready. So be strategic. Don't be rushed. That's why you want to do your homework ahead of time.
Okay.
Get approved. Work with the lender. Look at what's a value out there. And my other tip for you buyers as we look towards fall in the region is consider long-term ownership. Since the total cost of owning a home is more favorable the longer you stay. Mm-hmm. What I'm seeing a lot of people do is when they had that lower interest rate, they bought a house and they bought it high, and they really could have and should have considered staying there longer than they did. Then all of a sudden, this isn't the right house anymore, and now they're trading up, but for a higher interest rate, and maybe the inventory is even lower than it was then. So, I suggest that you should really be staying in a home, and it's different for everybody, but you really should be thinking about staying in your home maybe 7 to 9 years. It used to be at least 10. And it's different for everybody. I realize life happens, things happen, your family grows, your family decreases, you get an empty nesters and things like that. But you don't want to think totally short term. You want to think, how long am I going to be in this home and what's the value benefit to me? Yeah. So think about and consider long-term ownership given the interest rate and your ability to maybe refinance later. Yeah. And also the value of getting under contract on the right home right now with the right value and how much it's going to appreciate long term. Okay. So that you can value that and you can get the benefit of that.
Perfect. I have a really crazy wild question just in reference to, you talking about this coming up fall and what to expect and so on and so forth, or some tips and tricks. But do you ever notice as, a real estate agent when people are listing their house, or maybe a house was listed during the summer as opposed to winter, or winter as opposed to summer, do you ever notice like a price decrease in winter because it's harder to sell and move and groove during a winter month as opposed to a summer month?
Can be, and we're going to talk about sellers in a second, but to answer your question, Nici, a lot of times sellers are going to want to avoid listing in the less favorable months or seasons because of weather-related incidents that we have here. Our winter, let's face it, not everybody loves to make a move then. But then sometimes sellers can also see that there's an opportunity that maybe they can get a premium for their home if they're among very few listed at that point in time.
Yeah.
Kind of going against the grain, if you will. And if the buyers are ready and we actually have a mild winter and the interest rates are right and the terms and conditions are right for buyers, it might jump them into that opportunity. So let's talk about sellers. So, Genesee County sees many homes listing above an asking price in quick sales, as I mentioned, less than 10 days. Orleans County homes, we're still seeing 105% of the list price. So that's reflecting buyer eagerness. Expect that as we persist into fall.
Okay.
And I still think we're going to have strong appreciation in Wyoming County, and that shows equity growth as potential. So your smart move sellers are this. Price it right out of the gate. Pricing, if you overprice it, it can backfire. And I can give you the examples of that. So back to your point, Nici, if you see price decreases, you don't have to suffer the price decrease. It's not a big deal and you're seeing a lot of them, but be ahead of the game and price competitively.
Yeah.
Okay? So don't overprice because it's going to backfire on you. If you have a price decrease, buyers are going to say, what's wrong with it? Nothing. You just overshot. You have to pay attention to the numbers now. Highlight your efficiency features and your value your feature sellers. All those upgrades I just talked about on the buy side. What are the things that are going to be a benefit to buyers to really speak to the value of your home? So sellers with those upgrades can attract more competition.
Yeah.
And sellers, if you don't have those things, price it right then, because your buyer's going to look there and say, I need to do this, I need to do this. So then price it right to begin with and don't suffer the consequences later. Lean into quick marketing. Fast time to pending is strong selling point. So if you price it right and you really market it and you work with the right agent to market it, you'll get offers. It only takes one good one, but maybe you get multiple so you can really negotiate on your terms and conditions. A local agent is gold. It's the same thing on the buy side as it is on the sell side,
yes.
Okay? So they'll know how to position your property within the county-specific buyer demand. So these are the things that I'm seeing that's really important for a dynamic fall. I expect more active inventory. I expect a seasonal transition, kind of what you talked about, Nici.
Okay.
As we get later into fall, it's going to get difficult because then people want to pull things off the market. People want to be done and dusted and settled before the holidays settle in.
Yeah.
So if you're listing, you need to list sooner than later. And buyers, I think you're going to have some great opportunities in September and October, but expect competition. Anticipate that we're going to still be in a competitive market. Okay. So it's good news for fall. I think it's a lengthening of what our typical summer season will be, but be aware, here comes winter.
My goodness. You make this sound, scary, but let's be honest here. Winter isn't fun by any means.
It's not. There's opportunities, and I'm happy to speak that through with buyers and sellers. But at the same time, folks, we know that we're creatures of habit, and we like to get cozy come end of October
100%.
into November, right? And we get overwhelmed with all the end of year hustle. So get sold, get under contract, do what you got to do now. If you have questions, call me at 585-344-1321. I'm happy to sit down with you and do a complimentary buyer or seller consultation and really break down what this fall market's going to mean for you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I love it when you come in and just break all this stuff down, blow a lot of our minds, and you're such a wealth of knowledge, and I really love when you get to come in and kind of spread that with all of us. But, of course, until next week.
That's right. We're keeping it real estate here on WBTA.
Have a wonderful day.